You wake to a sound that no city of the old world ever heard at dawn. The wild and tangled chorus of countless animals greeting the morning just beyond your walls. Birdsong, yes, but woven through with deeper calls. The bark and chitter and low rumble of creatures moving through the half-light. So close and so many that for a moment you forget you are in a city at all. You lie still, listening to a morning thick with wild life. And then you understand the wonder of the age you have woken into. You live in the time after the Great Return, when the wild animals came back, not to distant reserves, but to everywhere. You rise and move to the window, and the city appears in the pale morning light, and it is a city shared. Green towers rise wrapped in gardens, much as in any city of this gentle age, but between them and below them and all around them moves a wildness the old world had banished. A great deer steps unhurried across a garden plaza. Birds of 100 kinds wheel between the towers. In the green that fills the ground level, you glimpse smaller creatures moving through the undergrowth, at home, unafraid. You realize the line that once divided the human world from the wild one, the wall that kept the animals out there and the people in here, has simply dissolved. You step onto your terrace, and the air meets you cool and clean and full of the sounds and scents of living things. And you understand quickly what makes this age unlike any before it. There was a time, not so long ago in the long memory of this world, when the wild animals had nearly vanished, pushed into smaller and smaller corners until many were gone forever and the rest clung on only in the few places people had not yet taken. And then humanity changed its way of living, drew itself gently into cities that took little and gave much, and gave the rest of the world back. And into that returned space, the animals came flooding home. A small craft drifts up to meet your terrace, silent as a held breath, and you step inside. It lifts you gently into the air, and as it carries you over the city, you see how thoroughly the wild has woven itself through everything. The craft moves carefully, guided by a mind that watches always for the creatures sharing the air and the ground, never startling them, never harming them, weaving its path around the life below. You realize the whole city was remade to make room for its wild neighbors, to let the animals pass freely through it, to be a place where people and creatures live side by side rather than one crowding out the other. The craft sets you down at the edge of a wide green expanse, and there you discover how completely the return has transformed the world. Beyond the city's gentle edge, the land runs wild and unbroken. But the wildness does not stop at the border. It flows inward, through corridors of green that thread the whole city, so that a creature might wander from the deep wilderness all the way to the heart of where people live, and find a welcome the whole way. You watch a family of animals move along one of these green paths, unhurried and unafraid. And you understand that the city is not a fortress against the wild, but a part of it. You wander toward the sound of children, and you find them gathered at the edge of the green, watching the creatures with a quiet delight that is entirely without fear. One child is learning the calls of the birds that fill the morning. Another is watching a herd move across the distant grassland, learning their ways. A patient presence guides each of them along the thread of their own curiosity. And you realize these children are growing up in a world where the wild animals are neighbors, familiar and beloved, learning to share the earth with them as naturally as you once learned to share a street. You pass people as you go, and you notice how easily they move among the creatures, the gentle respect in how they give the animals room. You meet the eyes of one who seems no older than 40, and somehow you know they have lived a century or more, that they remember through the long memory of their years, a quieter and emptier world. The years when the wild had grown thin and the mornings had fallen silent. And you understand that for them, this chorus of returned life is not ordinary at all, but a daily wonder. The answer to a loss they once feared was permanent. If this returned wildness is stirring something in you, a sense of the world we might share once more with every living thing, take a moment to subscribe and journey onward with us. Every future we explore together is a reminder of what we are still capable of restoring. The more of us who hold this vision in mind, the closer it comes. Now, let the journey continue. You rise into the air once more, and the craft carries you high above the city, and from this height, you see the full scope of the Great Return. The wild runs everywhere, unbroken. Vast stretches of forest and grassland and wetland rolling to the horizon, and through it all move the animals in numbers the old world had forgotten were possible. Great herds cross the open land. Flocks darken the sky in their passing. The rivers run thick with life, and the cities sit gently within all of it, small and green and woven through with the same wildness. No longer islands of humanity in a tamed world, but quiet gardens within a living one. The craft carries you over a place where the land was once stripped and empty, and you watch it teeming now with returned life. And you understand how the Great Return was accomplished. Humanity made room, drawing its sprawl inward, healing the broken land, and then simply allowed the wild to flow back into the space it had been given. The animals were not placed here by careful hands. They came on their own, spreading back across a world that had room for them again. And the swiftness and fullness of their return astonished even those who had hoped for it. You descend as the day softens toward evening, and the city glows warm and golden, and the wild sounds shift into their evening voices, the day creatures settling, and the creatures of the dusk beginning to stir. People gather in the green plazas to share food and slow conversation, untroubled by the wild lives moving gently around them, as though it were the most natural thing in the world to share their evening with the creatures of the earth. And you notice the thing beneath it all. There is a deep rightness here, a sense of a broken bond restored, of humanity taking its place once more as one creature among many rather than a ruler set apart. You find a quiet place at the edge of the green and sit, and around you the lights of the city wake one by one, mingling with the first stars and the rising sounds of the night creatures. You watch a child point out into the gathering dusk at some animal moving soft and graceful through the green, asking a question you cannot hear. And you watch an elder who remembers the emptier years answer with a smile, and it settles over you, the meaning of this age. None of it was inevitable. The wild animals pushed to the edge of vanishing might have slipped away forever, and the world might have grown permanently quiet, a place of people alone, that the creatures might return, not to scattered refuges but to everywhere, flooding back across a whole world made ready to receive them, was a hope the old world hardly dared to hold. Yet here it is, all around you, a planet alive again with the full chorus of its creatures, shared once more between humanity and every wild thing. You lean back as the city glows softly amid the sounds of the returning night, and a single thought stays with you beneath the gathering stars. This is what we became when we made room in our world for every other living thing, and quietly, somewhere within you, you begin to believe that a world shared is a world made whole.